customer. What is the voice of customer? So yesterday I discussed you about the voice of customer, that we are basically working on the pull system. Okay, we are working on the pull system, not on the push system. So we are working on the pull system. Now, what is this pull system? So we are having two concepts, pull and push. So basically in the pull system, we are having demand from the customers, in advance. And in the push system, we are not having demand in advance. Okay. So in the pull system, basically you are only making some items when you are receiving demand, and in the push system you are making in advance. So in the pull system, voice of customer is extremely important, because when you are having exactly voice of customer, then it's very easy to first of all to develop any good product, and you can actually give what customer wants. So exactly what is the exact demand of the customer. Like suppose customer need a very economical car, very good mileage, a very good aesthetic looks, and also the durability, reliability is excellent of the car. So this is the voice of customer. Now you have to make such kind of car. You need to design such kind of car for the customer. So this voice of customer is very important. What is happening if you're not able to listen to the voice of customer. It doesn't matter how big is your company, how much resources you are having, how much excellent resources you are having. There is a very big chance that your product can fail in the market. There are so many examples in the past when big companies, big companies, they are having no shortage of resources, but still their products become fail, miserable fail in the market. One of the major example is Tata Nano. So Tata Nano was failed because Tata was not able to understand the voice of customer properly. Okay, this was one of the biggest problem, the failure of Tata Nano in the market. There are sorry guys. Okay, so we were discussing about the voice of customer. So voice of customer is very important. I just gave you example that in a lot of cases, big companies also become fail. Their products become fail. One of the biggest example was Tata Nano. So Tata Nano actually was failed because they were not able to understand the voice of customer properly. Now, what is the voice of customer? So the voice of customer exactly is the demand of the customer. Now, there are so many demands of the customer, maybe hundreds and thousands of demand. Now you have to divide the demand into most critical part, like what is the critical to quality, right? What are the most critical with the demand of the customer. So your main focus area that you should target on the critical demand, the highest priority of the customer. So there are few techniques by which you can understand the voice of customer properly, and you can work on the projects related to the Six Sigma. So basically these are techniques like SIPOC diagram. SIPOC is a diagram, or it's a technique which we are using in the define phase in the Six Sigma. What is SIPOC? S for supplier, I for input, P for process, O for output, and C for customer. So this SIPOC diagram is very important. You are really want to understand voice of customer. And we are using the affinity diagram, Carnot diagrams, CTQ, critical to quality, and other requirements. Let's see how we'll do it. So voice of customer, It enables you to decide what products and services to offer. This is very, very important, like why Apple is so much successful in the market, because Apple actually in 2007-8 or between 5 to 8, Apple really understand what is the voice of customer, what really customer wants. So you guys, I just want to give you a story of, I just want to tell you the story of Apple. So Apple actually was founded by Steve Jobs. You all knows about the Steve Jobs. And this was very unfortunate that Steve Jobs himself was fired from his own company in 1980s. If I am not wrong, in 1983 he was fired from his own company, and this was one of the unfortunate incident in the history of the corporate world. Then Steve Jobs was launched his own companies. He launched a lot of products, lot of new products with his own company, but all his products become fail in the market. Believe me, I mean from 1983 to 1995. Okay, uh, almost all the products of Steve Jobs become fail. Okay, then Steve Jobs realized his mistake, that he was not able to understand the voice of customer properly. This was one of the biggest mistakes he was doing. Then Apple was also facing a lot of troubles in 1990s, and Apple decided to again hire Steve Jobs for the position of CEO. Then again Steve Jobs joined as a CEO of Apple. Then he never turned back. Okay, he joined in 1994 and 95 with Apple. Then again he realized that in the Apple they were working on so many products. They were actually developing about 100 to 200. I don't know exactly, but they were working on so many products. They were developing so many products. So Steve Jobs realized this is totally a mistake, by the Apple. Then he uh, you know focused on only few products, like 3 4 products, and they launched iPod, they launched Mac computer, they later on they launched the iPhone, and step by step Apple captured most of the market. Why it was happened? Because Apple was able to understand the voice of customer properly. At that time, in the early 2000, when there were so many laptop manufacturing companies like Dell or some other companies, Apple was totally thinking opposite as compared to the other companies. They were launching thin, extremely thin laptops. That was the first thin laptop in the market. There was no other company launched this kind of thin laptops, thin and slim laptop. So this was the USP, of the Apple. So this is one of the way, like the design of the Apple products, the uniqueness, the innovation, the research and development, and the Apple is far ahead as compared to their competitors. This is one of the biggest reasons that this Apple company is so much successful in the market. So this is the way, guys. If you are really able to understand the voice of customer, then definitely you can capture more and more market share. Okay, this is one of the biggest reasons. So voice of customer enables you to decide what products and services to offer, identify critical features and specifications for the products and services. This is all always happen when you are receiving the voice of customers. Okay. After the voice of customer, you need to decide where to focus improvement efforts. Okay. You are receiving a lot of feedbacks from customer, then you will decide where exactly you need to focus. And you are getting the baseline measure of customer satisfaction in order to measure improvement, and also you need to identify key drivers for customer satisfaction. So determining the value and defining the voice of customer. So the voice of customer is a term used to describe both the stated and unstated needs, or requirements of the customer. And you need to actually divide this voice of customer into the further segmentation, like what are the highest priority of the customer, what is the medium priority, and the low priority and the lowest priority. So definitely you need to focus on the highest priority of the customer. If you are focusing on the lowest priority of the customer, so somewhere you are not going into the right direction. Now, what is the voice of business and voice of customer? So yesterday, I also shown you one of the diagram that voice of customer is basically it is a demand of the customer from the customer side, and the voice of business basically this is related to your voice of process. Okay, so in many cases, voice of business can be considered as a special case voice of customer. So voice of your process, like yesterday, I gave you example that suppose customer is giving you order that you need to produce 1 million products in 3 months, in next 3 months or next 6 months. So you need to check whether your process is enough capable to produce voice of customer or not, or customer demand or not. Okay, so definitely your voice of customer is equal to your voice of business, or your voice of business is equal to your voice of customer. Then only you can able to make successful products, and you can able to produce successful products which is demanded by your customer. So definitely your voice of customer should equal to your voice of process or voice of business. Okay, if it is not equal, then definitely you are not able to produce your voice of customer. It shows that you are not enough competent enough, that you can't able to produce voice of customer or customer demand. I will show you with one of the graph here. This graph is very important. Although this is not a part of yellow belt, that is a part of green belt, but still I'm trying to show you this graph. So guys, this is the mean, this is the mean, which is the target value. Okay, and you are having this graph up to the 3 standard deviation. So this one is a +1 standard deviation, +2, +3 standard deviation. Now what is the standard deviation? The standard deviation, actually it is the width of the deviation from the mean. Like suppose at this point, at this point, the standard deviation is uh, it is 1.5 sigma. Okay, so this is a standard deviation till this point. Like suppose here it is 1.5. So basically, standard deviation, it will always tell you how much you are far ahead from the mean. Okay, how much you are far ahead from the mean. That is the meaning of the standard deviation. Okay, this is a standard deviation, and it is absolutely very important. It is represented by the sigma, and when I'm taking the population parameters, then you are showing this mean with the mu. This is the mu, which is mean. And if you are taking samples, like you are taking so many samples here, like these are the different samples, maybe you are taking 30-40 different samples, and you are arranging mean here, you are calculating mean here, then the sample mean, the mean of the sample is represented by S bar. Sorry. It is represented by X bar. What is the X bar? The X bar is a sample mean. And the standard deviation, it is showing with S. But this S is the standard deviation of the sample. So basically this is the difference. So our objective is, like you are having so many samples here, so many samples here. Now this is your X bar, this is the sample mean, this is your population mean. So what we are trying to get, that the population mean, sorry, the sample mean is exactly close to the population mean, or exactly on the same line of the population mean. So this is the target value, guys. This is the target value, and this is the target value which is set by your customer. Suppose customer wants that you need to produce a material of 30 centimeter diameter. Okay, so 30 centimeter diameter, actually it is required by the customer. This is the mean. Now suppose he is giving you tolerance also. Like what is the tolerance? That they know that it is very difficult to produce all the products of exactly 30 centimeters. So they are giving you specification limit, which is a lower specification limit and upper specification limit. Suppose the specification limit is, I can say, for example, I am taking more limit, like 20 centimeter. 20 centimeter is a lower specification limit, and 40 centimeter is the upper specification limit. So these are the limits, these are the tolerance values. Whatever you are producing here, it is coming under these values, 20 centimeter to 40 centimeter. Anything which you are producing beyond these limits, beyond these specification limits, these are considered as errors. Okay, whatever you are producing above specification limits, then definitely this area actually is considered as the defective pieces. So guys, this is extremely important, and you should focus, to produce all the items which are necessary to produce within the specification limit. Now these are the specification limit. There is other limit which is lower control limit. So this specification limit is always set by your customer. So this is actually set by your customer, and the difference between lower specification limit to the upper specification limit, this is voice of customer. Okay, so this is the voice of customer, and you need to produce all the items which is coming under the voice of customer. And LCL, this is the lower control limit, and this is upper control limit. So basically lower control limit and upper control limit, this is the voice of business and voice of process. So it is mandatory that it should exactly meet your specification limits, or maybe more than the specification limits. So definitely you can able to make your customer demand. Okay, so this is the control limits. Control limit is actually your voice of business, or voice of, I can say, voice of process. Voice of business and voice of process is almost same. So basically voice of business or voice of process is set by your own company. You set your own standards, and the specification limit is always set by your customers. So anything which you are producing beyond these specification limit, these are considered as a defects. Okay, so guys, I am dividing it into the 3 standard deviation. Now this my process, my current process is at the 3 standard deviation. Now I am a manager, or maybe I am the general manager of the company. I am not happy with the performance. I need to improve the process more further, and I need to improve this process from 3 standard deviation to 6 standard deviation. Now how you can do it? You can do it only to improve your process. You can check all your machines, to check all your resources, your materials, your equipment, your quality product, everything you need to check. And when you are improving or making more standardized your process, then you can convert your 3 sigma standard deviation to 6 sigma standard deviation. Now how it will looks like, if you are converting this 3 sigma into the 6 sigma, then definitely this 6 sigma is much more closer to the mean. This is more closer to the mean. So you can see the difference here. Now here the standard deviation is very less as compared to the previous one. Here the width in here is more, but in the 6 sigma graph, the variations are very less. So you can see the change, but you can't change the specification limits, because the specification limit is always set by a customer. You can't change the specification limit, but what you can change, you can change your process. You can improve your process. Okay, you can reduce your defective things. So when you are reducing these variations, then definitely automatically your system is going to improve, and you can see the change. Now you can change the standard deviation. So what I am doing now, I divide this one standard deviation into 2 parts. Now this -1 standard deviation is coming here, and this is -2. Okay, this is -3, -4, -5, and -6. So guys, what I'm changing here, I'm changing the width of the standard deviation, and also I'm reducing the variation. This is the concept of 6 sigma. So basically 6 sigma is a concept when you are targeting your mean. So mean is always set by a customer. What is the mean here? That you need to produce all the material of the 30 centimeter diameter. So this is my target. Like suppose you need to produce 100,000 products. Okay. So all these 100,000 products, definitely you will try that this will be very close to this mean, 30 centimeter. Okay. So if you are closing to your mean, definitely you can able to achieve your Six Sigma. Okay. And if you are going more far ahead, the width is more, it means you are producing more and more defective items. It might be possible, there are chances that your graph should be look like this. Okay, so in this case, you are producing more defective items. So guys, this is the concept of Six Sigma. You can understand the concept from this graph. It's very easy. Once you understand this graph, you can understand the voice of customer and the voice of process. So it is very, very important. Your voice of customer should meet your voice of business. If it is not meeting your voice of business, then definitely it shows that you are not competent enough. You can't able to produce your demand of the customer. So the voice of customer methodology has 4 steps and tools. First, you need to identify your customers. Then you need to collect your customer information, gather your customer information, analyze customer information, determine customer needs. Now, what are the tools you are using? You are using SIPOC diagram. That is the first tool for the customer segmentation. Then you have to listen to the people. Then you can use Affinity Diagram, Kano diagram, then CCR, critical customer requirement and critical to quality. Okay. So first step is developing customer focused business strategy. So to develop a customer focused business strategy, you require an assessment of the business needs. Okay, the identification of the customer segments. Like there are different customers, maybe on the basis of different age groups, different gender, different ethnic origins. So you can divide your customers into different origins. Then listening to the customer voice of customer. So to obtain useful and valid customer information, feedback requires selecting research methods. Okay, so you need to select a proper research method like market research method or market survey or questionnaire method, what the methods you are using to collect the customer demand. Then you need to translate your voice of customer into the critical customer requirements. What are these critical customer requirements? Means these are the most critical requirements which are extremely important and the highest priority by the customer. You need to focus on these critical customer requirements. Okay, otherwise you will become fail in the market. Developing measures and indicators, then you will translate the critical customer requirement into input, process, and output indicators. These are few steps, 4 steps here. So identify customers. Basically, how you can identify customers. You can use customer segmentation. You can use SIPOC diagram. So customer segmentation is depend on different things, different factors like the interest area. Like there are different customers on the basis of their interest, like business. Maybe some customers are having interest in the consumers or compliance. There are different age groups of the customer, different background of the customers. Some of the customers are from North India, some of the customers are from South India. So definitely there are different psychology of North Indian and the South Indian customers. Okay, some of the customers maybe from China, some of the customer from India, some of the customer from Singapore. So the Chinese customer is having different psychology. different opinion as compared to the Indian customer. Then criticality of your supply, frequent and heavy user, like for example, you are launching any product which is uh, used by the kids. So definitely the kids are the heavy users of this product. Okay. Then your casual and contractual. So these are different customer segmentation here. SIPOC diagram. So you are using SIPOC diagram, which is supplier, input, process, output, and customer. So you are making a chart in one piece of paper, and where you will mention all about your suppliers, your input, processes, output, and customers, and you can mention about their problems. If you are facing some issues with your suppliers or with your customers, or maybe your customers are facing some issues, then you can highlight all your different suppliers and customers, and also you can mention their issues. This is an example of the SIPOC diagram. Like, as for suppliers, these are the providers of the input to your process. I is for inputs, different type of materials, resources of data required. Processes are here, different processes you are using, different outputs you are using, and different customers you are having. Like, this is an example. There's one company which is making some sweets and they are selling through the website. Then their suppliers are different, like web customers, warehouse, packaging company, distribution company. They are having different inputs like order details, sweets, cartoons, packaging materials. Then the process is they are receiving the order, they are actually using the payment method, and after that they are packing the order, checking the order, and order dispatched. The outputs are packed order, packaging reorder, business intelligence, and customers. There are different distribution companies like distribution company A, B, packaging company. So you can mention all your suppliers, all your customers, all your processes here in just in one piece of paper. So this is your homework, guys. You need to develop your SIPOC diagram for your own company, for your own process, and you can submit it to the email of some mastery. Okay. So how you will create a SIPOC diagram? Just you can make or create SIPOC diagram only in one piece of paper. Roughly, you can use some whiteboard and you can use some sticky notes, and you can discuss with your team members, with your colleagues, and after that you can draw the process map. Okay, identify the outputs of the interest, identify who received each output, different customer for different outputs, what are the inputs of interest, and identify who provides the inputs. So there are a few tips, for the SIPOC. Build your SIPOC iteratively. Do not expect to get it right on the first pass. So do not expect that you are making SIPOC at perfect at the first time. Maybe it will require 2-3 exercises. You can use A4 size paper, or maybe you can use whiteboard. And SIPOC should be developed by the group with the knowledge of process concerned. There are a few points related about the SIPOC. So SIPOC, again, it will give you all the details about your suppliers, your control, customers, processes, outputs, and inputs. Okay, and you are having more idea that who are your suppliers, what type of materials they are supplying it, what are the inputs you are using, what type of processes you are having, as well as if you are having different outputs, like you are having different products, you can mention different finished good products here and different type of customers. Step number 2 is gather customer information. So this is a very important part. So the main objective is identify and acquire relevant topical accurate information. Okay. So this is really important here. This is the main objective. What are the tools you are using? You are using customer information sources. There are some few examples you are using for customer information sources. Like you are using research methods. In the research methods, you are using interviews, focus groups, survey method, observations, Like you can see, you are receiving different kind of survey on the social networking side like Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. You are receiving different surveys from different companies. Suppose you are having some friend who is doing PhD or any type of research. So for the research, the survey method is one of the important aspect there. Okay, this is very important for the research. And listing post, so you can mention this listing post, and you can mention all your complaints. The customer service representatives can give you idea about the feedback from the customers. The sales representative also give the idea about the feedback of your customers, billing, accounts, and the collection. So you can, use this kind of listing post in your company where you are receiving different feedbacks of your customers or maybe from your suppliers also. Internal and external data. So you can use some internal and external data like data from your industry experts, secondary data from your competitors, like you're launching any new product. So the data of your competitors is extremely important to understand your product. Now the step number 3 is analyze customer information. So the main objectives is generate a list of key customer needs in their language, organize customer information, prioritize customer needs. Okay, these are the main important thing. When you are collecting your customer information, then what is the next step? You have to analyze your customer information. Okay, for this, you can use affinity diagram, you can use Kano analysis. Kano analysis is a very famous tool you are using to select different type of customer, okay, to identify your different kind of customers. So affinity diagram you can use, you can have a board like this where you are gather ideas from different interviews, different kind of surveys, and you are using uh, some kind of cards here where you mention their needs. What are the needs of your customers? You can mention their needs, and you can use this kind of boards, and you can put these cards there in this board. Like in the first column, this is the need number one. So you can put all the cards which are having all the different kind of needs of the customer. And similarly, need number two, need number 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. Okay, so like this way you can able to understand different needs and different demands of